This is all you need to know about what I'm talking about this week. I'm Chris Wolvie, the wrestling vlog, who always tells it like it is. I guess I could talk about how the Thunderdome concept seems to be going pretty well, despite the racism pervs. But then again, when you open up to the internet, what did you think was gonna happen? Now, they still need someone to get the cheers and boos just right from 2K18. So shut up and call me, WWE. I guess I could talk about how Bayley and Sasha Banks finally split up. In a brutal way, mind you. Or about how Roman Reigns is totally pulling a Brock Lesnar while the WWE is still deciding if bringing Lesnar back is such a good idea. Or how nepotism has turned its head so that Reigns could have the weakest opponent for his first title defense. Or how Retribution totally screwed up its first non-violent promo. But honestly, what I'm most concerned about this week is the tag team situation in the WWE. And how it seems to be getting worse and worse as the year goes on. When I first got into pro wrestling, tag teams were a major part of it, and the teams were solid and extremely rarely fought singly. The British Bulldogs, the Killer Bees, the Fabulous Rougeau brothers, the Islanders, the Rockers, they may not have stuck together throughout their WWE tenures, but when they were together, they were much better known by their team name than their individual names. And through the 80s and the 90s, teams like Demolition, the Young Stallions, the Head Shrinkers, and the Nasty Boys stayed dominant. It wasn't very often that a thrown-together tag team of normally singles wrestlers would hold the tag titles. Not that there weren't exceptions. Money Incorporated springs to mind when Ted DiBiase and Mike IRS Rotundo grabbed onto them. And the Natural Disasters brought Earthquake and Typhoon, formerly Tugboat Thomas, together as a decent team. But for the most part, it was established teams with years of working together that made up the backbone of the tag division. These days, seems like any two wrestlers can team up and aim for the titles. And those that have been teams for a good while are falling left and right. And this year has been the worst yet for established teams. It all started after WrestleMania when the OC of Gallows and Anderson were given the heave-ho, leaving AJ Styles to be, I guess, a club of one. The Usos have been sidelined again thanks to Jimmy's inability to obey the law, leaving Jay to try soloing. Both Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods of the New Day are still out of action, leaving Big E to likewise try soloing, with much better results, I think. The Revival were released and are now AEW tag champs. The AOP were recently ditched. The ones I called the loserweight split when Cedric Alexander joined the Hurt Business, which I now count as a tag team, so zero-sum there. Andrade and Angel Garcia have been on the precipice of breaking up for months now, as are the Lucha House Party. And who knows if Murphy is ever welcome in the comforting arms of Seth Rollins ever again. Who the hell is left? The Street Profits are, at this time, the highest profile actual team on Raw or SmackDown lately. Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura went from Sami Zayn's backup to SD Tag Champs, but they're still two singles competitors as far as I'm concerned. And it was nice to see Miz and Morrison back together, but I just don't know if they're feasible anymore. The Viking Raiders are just a pair of large, hairy jokes these days, and Heavy Machinery? As long as Otis has that Money in the Bank and contract, the demise of him and Tucker is less than a year away. No way they're challenging for the titles anytime soon. And that is why, instead of the top 3 tag teams each on Raw and SmackDown, as I usually do, I am now listing the top 5 tag teams from both brands combined. I'll consider slipping in NXT if they don't get their tag team act together as well. Now, the good news is I can go back to list the top 5 cruiserweights, though I'm treating 205 Live matches like I used to treat main event matches as only half as important as main NXT matches. But back on subject. Now, I'm hearing some people claim that since the tag team division is so horrid, the Street Profits versus Cesaro Nakamura match on In Your Face Raw should be a setup for a tag team unification match at Clash of Champions, and that, like the women's champs, the male tag team champs should defend on Raw and SmackDown, both. Whoever has the better team. Somehow, I doubt that will happen, but until more solid tag teams arrive or return, I'm keeping the tag teams of both brands lumped together. You guys screwed up with sanity. Get your head on straight before tag team wrestling just becomes any two wrestlers saying, "Hey, I think we could win the titles, let's go for it." And they go for it, and they actually win. For the love of the Valiant Brothers, the U.S. Express, and all other real tag teams that have held those belts over the last 2/3 of the century, do something! I'm Chris Wolvie, the Wrestling Plot, who always tells it like it is. Stay safe, and I'll see you.